Blog Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, Roger Sylver here today. No intro, no music or anything like that because I wanted to get things underway immediately, okay? And we have with us today co-hosting with me, Mr. Jerry Avalos, the newest member to the UTE team. Welcome, and how you doing today, Jerry?
Hello everyone out there. Hello Roger. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I hope everyone out there is doing fantastic as well.
Right on. Thanks for being here, buddy. And I hope everyone out there is doing well. All the same here. I would like to start today, Jerry, with a little announcement, if I could, and then we can get some things underway here.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, everyone knows, most everyone knows at this time, Aaron is unable and or not willing to be part of the UTE team. He explained why last Thursday on a show that I was interviewed for on Project Information Generation Radio, Pig Radio on Blog Talk. He explained what is currently going on and his reasons for leaving. So I will post another link to that on my Facebook page today. When he does have important information to share, I am hoping, as the rest of us, that he will let us know so that we can pass the information along to you, our listeners, immediately. I do ask that we honor his request and allow him space and time to do what he needs to do for however long it takes. Bombarding him with questions and or emails is not recommended at this time, for I feel that it may prohibit his ability to share important information in a timely manner. If he chooses to do so, that is, I ask everyone to please honor this request, and thank you for doing so. And with that, on with the show, Mr. and Sir Jerry. Would you like to begin the show with anything?
Actually, I wouldn't mind just kind of just message, if you will, kind of adding on to Aaron and such, in the sense, or perceptions thereof.
Sure.
I think that a lot of people tuned in before, too, like hoping Aaron would give some new little morsel of ultra top secret news or something, but it's like, I think people really have to assimilate the big story he came out with. I mean, because honestly, like, what the hell else do you need? There's a big Atlantean gate in the Caribbean. You know, it's like, what else do you want to hear? So, right. And I think I think Aaron, I'm sure he's going to apply his efforts in constructive, non-jihadist ways, as I told him.
Right.
That I'm sure are going to benefit a lot. Because, I mean, as we see, it's like he planted the seed, this movement, but actually I think it was really cool just, him being of a real, a younger generation in respects to a lot of the whistleblowers and figures in the community before. I think it really did help to invigorate a lot more people. And,
yes, it did.
And so that just sparks more and more, and so it's great. And so I think, he set out to get people active, to inform people, so mission accomplished. So I'm sure right now he's just, planning the next objective.
Precisely. And, I do have to say that when I spoke with him on Friday, there are some things taking place. Well, maybe I can throw some people a bone here. And if Aaron chooses to speak about it, call in, speak about it, whatever he would like to do. It's cool with me whenever he would like to. Today, by the way, folks, our show is slated for 30 minutes. I'm still getting used to this new setup myself here through Skype and working through the studio. I set the timer for 30 minutes today, so we will air 30 minutes live, and the last 30 minutes of the show will still be recorded, but you'll have to catch the archive afterwards. But as far as this little tidbit of information, it regards the Festival of Enlightenment, as a matter of fact, soon to take place in Colorado. And you can find more information out about this at www.festivaloфenlightenment.com, if I remember correctly. But there are some things going on with that Aaron does have some information on, and he's pulling his resources and gathering information, and I really hope to hear soon what he has found out regarding this little Festival of Enlightenment. Just the name of it kind of gives me the creeps. I don't know about you.
It's interesting because, I kind of know, I don't know, I kind of don't really care about sharing certain information, because I think all of us have to be aware that, there's a big money-making apparatus in the, or relatively big operating in the metaphysical realm, shall we say, that really pretty much does business as usual, and they really don't care.
Precisely.
And so that's on one hand, it's good that these things happen, because, like, for instance, even at that Festival of Enlightenment, people like Greg Braden are speaking, and he has great information. You know what I mean? He has good information, and his heart might be aligned in the right place, but ultimately it kind of feeds into that machine of corporatism on some level, which we know kind of just ultimately feeds back into the big machine.
Yep.
And so that's true. And the reason why I'm just kind of coming out and saying this, is that I know Aaron's kind of looking in and knowing people in particular, but honestly, like, I already kind of deal in these circles a little bit, and there's stuff that, business-wise, that I honestly don't agree with some of the larger sort of metaphysical companies where they do business because it's business as usual.
Exactly.
and it's trying to change the world $1 at a time, and I just don't agree with that. I understand we're all playing a survival game, but hey, it's like, if it's really that important, it probably should be free. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly, precisely. And, with that, I would honestly like to move on about, because time is short today, move on with, just get on with getting on here, folks. Tamara is working very, very hard. Tamara, excuse me, she's going to kick my butt, because I was always calling her Tamara, that's just, my westernized thing, but it's Tamara, okay? Anyway, she is working very, very hard at reclaiming guests that Aaron once had slated for the show. And we are doing fairly well with that at the moment. And I am putting the word out to all of you guests out there who are formally scheduled to be with Aaron and interviewed by him, to please get a hold of Tamara, excuse me, and or she's really gonna, oh man, okay. Anyway, please get a hold of Tamara and or myself, okay. You can get a hold of me at Roger at truthevolution.com, and I cannot remember Tamara's email address, unfortunately. We'll post that on her site, or mine, Facebook pages, as a matter of fact. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here, and I don't want to do that. But we are also still looking for music from anyone out there who, whose music deals with some of the issues that we speak about. Now, though the players have changed slightly here, the information is going to stay the same. We are going to have whistleblowers. We are going to have people that deal with alternative health, crystals, as a matter of fact, and I would like to talk to our very own Honeyfield from New Zealand about possibly doing a show with us on crystals. I, and my honey, Wendy, were speaking to him in Skype on Saturday night after our meeting, and we discussed crystals just a tad bit, and crystals can be used for healing, and we'd really like to talk to him about that. You have a show, talk to him privately, and things of that sort. But as far as slated confirmed interviews, folks, we do have on Tuesday, December 14th, Agapi Insatori, if that's how you pronounce his last name, and Jerry will be handling that interview. On Wednesday, December 15th, we have Greg Jove von Haesler, and I really hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly, Greg. I will be interviewing him on Wednesday. Wednesday, the 22nd of December, we have Mr. Steve Bassett of Exopolitics, if I remember correctly. And then we have, on January the 21st, we still have Andy Basaggio speaking about time travel and whatever he would like to speak about. Awaiting confirmation right now, we have Dr. Carmen Bolter, Suzanne Taylor, Miriam Delicato, and a couple others here. Awaiting response, we have Cynthia Crawford and Renato Longato, and I do believe Renato Longato has confirmed this coming Friday to do an interview, Jerry.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we do have them lining up, folks, and everything's happening so quickly right now, we really don't even have time to think. Just get it done. Boom. You know?
Much, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. We had a very long discussion this past Saturday in our first ever UTE meeting, and we brought a lot of things to the surface that needed to be dealt with, but we also agreed that the show's time should be should stay at the time that it normally aired when Aaron had reins of the air chair here. At 4 shows right now, we plan on doing 5 days a week. I will be doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And Jerry has agreed to take on Tuesday and Thursday, if I remember correctly, Jerry.
Yeah.
Okay. And we do have Mr. Justin Brennan, who will be, calling in as well. He's part of the UTE team. He's actually the other sound producer / engineer that he and I did some work for on that little clip that Aaron submitted in one of his second to last show, if I remember correctly. Otherwise, I'm kind of going brain dead at the moment because this is pretty impromptu. So, Jerry, if you have anything to add or would like to talk about, please do so.
Yeah, sure. We talked a lot about what we wanted to bring to the table with the Universal Truth Evolution show here and channel. And I think the team was pretty adamant about wanting to really expand it in different ways, and which includes different types of shows at different times, as well as
right, yeah,
as well as bringing other hosts on as well. So it's not just Roger and I. So it's really we create a network of our own network of shows where we talk about the subjects that all of us really want to hear about.
Right, precisely. And Wendy is helping me out with questions in the chat room today because the chat room, quite honestly, folks, and not that we don't want to talk to you, but, filtering through everyone's posts and things of that sort, I do have my lovely assistant, Wendy, helping me out today in the chat room with sending me questions and things of that sort. And I'm looking through here right now. And remember, folks, if you would like any questions answered, please make them all capitals to make it easier for Wendy to pick them out and slap them to me here. And if you would also like to call in, let me get back to the switchboard here. Our number is area code 661-621-7530. And I hope some of you call in, and if you're too scared to call in, then go ahead and shoot us a question in the chat room. All right, and we do actually have a question here really quick, Jerry, from Mr. Ed Chavez. Will you guys be putting up some contact info as to where we can send donations? Eventually, yes.
Oh, eventually.
Yeah, eventually, yes, we are. And, I would like to go on record also, Ed, and everyone else to say that when I spoke with Meredith and Aaron on Friday, I asked Meredith if she wouldn't mind finishing up the website at her own leisure, of course, because I do feel that all of the work she has put into it would be totally wasted if she decided not to, and I cannot see that happening. And she agreed that she would help us out with finishing up the site when she has the time. And from there, I'm hoping we can get some sort of PayPal button or something to where people can donate, yes, because we are looking highly into that right now.
Yeah.
TDW has, I don't know if you've heard anything about this here, Jerry, but TDW asks, what about Mother Earth turning into a star?
A star. Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone talk about that kind of metamorphosis, but I think in a sense that there will definitely be a new light radiation in a sense that will come from us, as it does actually as our awareness changes and elevates to really be aware of what's going on, and then our place in the universe. So I can see metaphorically how that can be a true statement, but I don't know about, literally.
Right. And I've heard a little bit about that, but not much to actually recall right off the top of my head, unfortunately. TDW, that's Thomas Don Williams. Yes. I do believe he is stating that he feels that Earth is going to be turning into a star, fifth density or something to that effect, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I think I understand. Okay. Because in another dimension, the perception of where Earth stood could be another sun, if depending on the dimension you're inhabiting. So once again, yes, I can see how it could be a true statement depending on the context of which you're kind of viewing it.
Understood.
So, that makes sense, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does to me. Yeah, but then again, I'm kind of out there.
I know we're not studying our Newtonian physics books right now, thinking that the pills are the only way to heal people and everything like that. So
exactly right. So can you tell us, Jerry, a little bit about what you did this last Sunday? You were putting on a presentation down there where you're at in Cali.
Yeah. There was a holiday fair that I was speaking about dreams. As well as playing a little music with my band, and we were kind of joking because, I really do enjoy David Wilcock's meta-analysis, and I think he does a fantastic job. But he's just so funny, even when he's not trying. So and I was kind of laughing at the similarities of oh great, now I'm pretending to be David Wilcock talking about dreams and then playing some music. But it was pretty cool, because we definitely have different tastes in music. I'm definitely more of a rocker. He has his prog thing going, but it was cool. It was fun. It's always good talking about dreams and letting people know the practicality of them, and kind of letting them and really grounding the whole subject, because I think that a lot of times people sort of they kind of put it into a couple of categories of basically fantasy and then maybe wow, you know what I mean? But it's really there's so much in between there, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's when you tune it really, it's like any other sense, your eyes, your ears, your nose. And that's kind of a little bit what I was talking about, and then I just love music, so I just like doing it.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, my band, we'll probably eventually I'll have some recordings for us to use too in the show of some of the stuff we do, because we talk about all the issues that we're concerned with too. We're I don't know, for those out there who know, we're similar to bands like Tool and Deftones, and because we actually do share some roots in terms of tutelage, shall we say, and stuff like that, and so we have kind of a heavy but melodic sound that we talk about all these things too. So there's integration of that too. So it's a little bit of what I do, and so that's kind of what I was down there doing, kind of talking about dreams, showing a little bit of art, showing a little bit of music, and it's having a good time with people who understand those concepts like the Earth Sun,
Right, your sun. So you guys do a lot of jamming, maybe Deftones and things of that sort. Do you guys get into any Fish or anything like that?
Not really, but we do jam a lot of different styles though. Because we like doing that too. Our band is we have a sort of vision of the band Apathy, as we're called, with the AE. But at the same time, we appreciate the discipline of music. So we are disciplined musicians in the sense of I've had classical studies in singing and just music theory and composition, as well as tabla. But I choose to play some really gnarly, edgy rock because I feel like it. You know what I mean? But we love to play other stuff. So for instance, at this show, at this thing yesterday, we played covers. I mean, acoustic covers of just different songs that people know. I mean, we played Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, things like that, some stuff from Social Distortion. So we played this kind of this rock medley of stuff. So yeah, but we do jam regularly. We get together regularly, and it's kind of cool because that's one of the things. Oh, actually, it's a good time to introduce this. Because one of the things I want to do, Roger, I don't think I had a chance to tell you about this, but I'm sure you'll dig on it. I would love to do like a monthly like late night show that's marked explicit on Blog Talk.
Right on.
This is completely like uncensored, and where we do take that satirical look at reality and we laugh at it, even if it's ugly and gnarly. We change it into something better by having a good laugh at it and, you know, shine some light on the subject in a different way. And because one of the reasons I got this idea was because a lot of times after we get done playing and, you know, and jamming and stuff, we start talking about what's going on, and we start, oh, hey, did you check out this? And, you know, we start kind of comparing notes on different subjects. And then we get into these very, you know, different discussions, but we're having fun doing it. We're laughing at it and all this other stuff. So I want to bring that energy into this community where it's like, yeah, we know that there's the My Labs. We know that there's the weird experiments. We know they're lying to us. We know that there's these malicious extraterrestrials out there. But you know what? It all works into a funny little cartoon-like kind of thing anyways, because it's like ultimately everyone has their issues, even those guys, that make them like a wounded kid.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
that we have to have some kind of compassion for, and we can kind of at least open that door with a little bit of satirical humor, you know?
Understood. And, you know, when you really stop to think about it, Jerry, when you actually catch a glimpse and you have a glimpse of clarity, you know, and understand everything is connected. You know, everyone is connected by 6 degrees of variance, you know, indirectly, directly. And when you understand that even they out there are not so much more benevolent than we down here, then, you know, you start to understand that we're all here to learn. It's and when you think about it, when you think about Star Wars, okay, and it, you know, all that took place, and they had all that technology in a galaxy a long time ago, you know, and they were far, far away, apparently, that this is actually an eternal evolution. It's eternal evolution is what it is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think because of these modern human perception in modern perception of time, like we think of 100 years as being a long time, but it's like, you know, as far as we understand, the Earth has been here at least 4.35 billion years here. I mean, so in that time, think about how many civilizations could have come and gone. You know what I mean? Even within the last, let's say, million years. You know, not even billion. Let's just look at the last million years. And then you think about all the potential life on all the planets and think about all that time. You know what I mean? And especially with the like how the recent find that proves that life can be based on other elements besides carbon with the arsenic bacteria in Lake Mono over here, shows that just exponentially increased the possibility of life already in all the other solar systems and planets out there. So it's like, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think we really are on that cusp and the nexus of really finding out who we are in the cosmic place of things.
Right, exactly, and you know, with given the vast infinity that is just our universe alone, you know, everything's a cycle. We're going to go through this again, you know, except for those who are actually able to ascend and get beyond and understand that everything that's taking place now is nothing but it's nothing but the Creator experiencing itself just fragmented. I'm another you, and so are they. You know,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just people are on different spiritual levels right now, and it's always going to be that way. And I always have to remember this, because if I don't, I get really, really perturbed with people quite quickly sometimes. But you know, and I always have to keep that in the back of my head, like, yeah, they're not on the same vibration level, back off. And I'm not saying I'm up there in any way, shape, or form, okay? But, you know, I am smarter than your average bear, you know?
Yeah, we have to honor everyone's path. And
exactly.
That's what it is, because I think there's too much, like, almost like judgment, but like in the reverse that goes along in these sort of truth movements or, you know, metaphysical realms, is that people don't realize that they're projecting judgment back on someone by saying, well, how could you drink that soda? Oh my God, how could you eat that poor animal? It's like, dude, that's you, okay?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's the same thing though. When someone's just kind of like their mind shut, it's kind of like, well, you know, I can't overzealously force it open, because then I'm just kind of like traumatizing them in a different way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just I'm really happy that we're able to move on the way we are, Jerry. Considering everything that has taken place, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I can imagine, you know, like you know, what a shock it was to you at the time, because yeah, you're just kind of getting cozy there in the co-host seat, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? Huh? What happened? It's like,
yeah,
so,
it was quite a bit to take in, and you know, I'm still dealing with it. We're all still dealing with it in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah,
but,
it's fun stuff.
Yeah, but we're getting on, folks, and you know, there's some new things happening, and I'm looking forward to them. And I have to put out a big thank you to any and all of Aaron's past scheduled interviewees who are slated to be on with Aaron, but are coming back to be interviewed anyway. Kudos to you. You folks are great. We love you all. And, you know, if you have any other suggestions, please get a hold of Tamara, myself, and or Jerry, since he will be hosting as well during the week. You can reach us on our Facebook pages. And, you know, here in a little bit, toward the close of the show, Jerry, I'll put my Facebook info out there if you would like to, also on in the chat room there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you would like to speak about? We have 3 minutes left in the top of the hour, until the top of the hour, by the way. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I guess the few things I would just add is that I definitely am looking forward to doing the show and sharing as much info as I can with everyone. In a lot of ways, like I said, I do a lot of the same things that a lot of other people online do, like David Wilcock, in the sense that I try to bring together information in a cohesive way. And so I'm hoping to integrate that into the show on days that maybe I don't have a guest, or even do segments on things like current topics, because I think that's something that needs to be touched upon quite a bit. So there's a lot of stuff that will just slip through the cracks if no one reports on it. So that's one thing that I think all of us here play a huge role in that, not just me, not just Roger, but everyone out there listening to this information that would otherwise fall through the cracks. And so here we are. We're the ones that are going to be grabbing that and listening to it and acting on it. So. Precisely.
And I would like to mention one more thing, folks. We have 2 minutes left until the end of the first hour, but if those of you who are in the chat room right now would still like to ask questions, please go ahead and post them in there, and during the last half hour, Wendy can get those questions sent to me, and we will still answer those for you on the recorded side of the show here. I'm sure tomorrow when Jerry does his show, he'll set it. Jerry, what can we set our shows for, by the way? What is the limit? 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah.
Okay, and that's 2 hours live recording, or is it 1 hour live and the
2 hours live streaming?
Right on.
We might be able to do 3 hours. 3 hours archive. I haven't tested that yet, but maybe we can do a test run on that sometime.
All right, you know what? That would be great. Maybe you might want to do a test run on it tomorrow. What the hey? Yeah. It's going to be your show tomorrow, there, buddy.
Yeah, I might just do that.
Okay. Yeah, I just heard we got 90 seconds. And like I said, folks, if you would like to post questions in the chat room for the last half hour that is recorded, Wendy, if she wouldn't mind, can post those to me because I'm going to be here, and so is Jerry, and we'll try to get those answered for you during the second part of the show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe not, because Wendy just left the room. Maybe she got kicked off. She's having issues with that.
Yeah,
she's having issues. Yeah. So, what would you like to speak about in the second half hour, Jerry?
Well, we can maybe even start talking about some of the stuff that's going on these days, and just kind of, bounce perceptions off of each other in terms of anything that, because a lot of people don't talk about what's going on in these circles too. You know what I mean? Like what, Dave Wilcock said, or Greg Braden, or just kind of jam off something,
Sure. Okay. Well, I would actually like to start off with Mr. David Wilcock. I read a little bit about China and how they are basically vying for the opportunity, basically almost trying to force this upon the nations of the world that they are basically going to be disclosing. They're pushing for disclosure first regarding extraterrestrial contact. And from what I've read on his site divinecosmos.com, that was one of the main reasons why Obama took off and hit China, was basically to say, please do not disclose anything at this time because of this, because of that. And now, China apparently sent little packages to care packages, so to speak, to these heads of state, and they had information in them and, some other objects. I don't remember exactly what those objects were. Are you familiar with this at all?
Yeah, actually I did read the update, and I actually did hear his recent interview. I think it was on the 8th about this.
Yeah, I didn't get to listen to the actual updates at all as of yet.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because kind of like how I was talking to Ben on Friday about in the WikiLeaks thing, some of those many thousands of documents. I kind of poured over some of them myself, and one of them I stopped at was about China and their projections into the next 30 years about them. And because it makes sense because right now they're the next big consumer group. Within the next 30 years, they're going to be like America in the sense to how America just kind of consumes everything. Oh, nice big old chunky Americans. What's it called? They're going to be like us too, just because of just out of sheer logistics of the expansion. You know what I mean? Not having to do with anyone's agenda or just whatever, just human nature. And so everyone's is vying for a piece of that. And so if China up and says we're going to make the extraterrestrial connection right now, well, guess who just got put in kind of the forefront of everything? And then in terms of Obama, honestly, it's kind of that's the thing with David, honestly, because some of his he's like, oh, these Black Ops people tell me this, and these Black Ops people tell me that. It's like, well, Black Ops people tell you a lot of things, dude. It doesn't mean all of it's true.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's and then because to me it's almost like he's almost using that now as a claim to fame, which I don't think is cool. I think it's disingenuous because that information, in fact, could be disingenuous and should be treated that way until it proves itself otherwise.
Precisely.
I don't think enough people do that with this stuff. Hell, I even did that with Aaron myself too, because I'm not just gonna be oh yeah, I got this I see the spiritual connection with this guy. Well, I'm oh yeah, I'm gonna meet him. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna meet him. But that doesn't necessarily mean I think what he says is entirely true. I had to do my own digging. Then I'm okay, and if he's genuine, when I meet him, he'll do blah, and he did blah. You know what I mean? So so there's a whole level of filters that I went through even just to go meet Aaron myself, just because it's I'm being realistic. I'm being realistic that you can't, just because someone's in the government doesn't, and now they're coming to you. It's what makes you think you can trust them?
Right.
And even when they're trying to do what's right, because actually Aaron's a good example because how he says, it's they mess with his memory, and that was the longest. That's why he's been kind of slowly releasing stuff, because he wants to make sure that it's not something there put there intentional to make him look stupid.
Right.
So that's the other thing, but I do think that there is definitely some energy swirling around China, and I do think that that it doesn't surprise me, honestly, that there would be a push from them right now, because there is many factions, like Benjamin Buford said, that there's just more. So it's I can see how that would be the case in the United States right now, because I think it's pretty apparent that here in the States, the corporate interests still just dominate everything, and they're not really interested in doing anything to help people right now, I don't think.
No, they honestly never have been. And just really quick here, I forgot to get to it in the first half hour. We didn't have time. Mr. Ed Chavez, he said, Roger, let people know they can private message me their email addies, so I can send them UTE Forbidden Vault files. And I just saw that he posted in the chat room here that he says, by the way, I'm posting today, the torrent I'm posting today is going to include 1,166 files from the Forbidden Vault. If you want the torrents, just let me know so I can send you the attached file by email. So thank you very much, Mr. Chavez, for that, very much. And with that, I guess we can move on.
Yeah, sure.
Anything you would like to discuss?
Actually, there is a I guess a political thing that another political thing I like to bring to everyone's attention. We all kind of knew about that bill that kind of brought into the FDA's power. Was it
S510?
Yeah, S510. Which I don't know if who's really been following it or not, but it did get shut down.
Yeah, it did. By who? By who? Who shut it down?
Well, because it was a technicality that basically the Senate can't pass any kind of tax, and so that's kind of what part of that bill would have been doing, and so it's like a null issue, like they can't do it, like they'd have to come up through the House and all this other stuff. So it's not going to happen. But I think in a sense, though, it does let you know where your senators stand on things. So that's good. I mean, me personally, I knew I was going to see like Feinstein on there and stuff, but in California here. But yeah, it's but just kind of as a political tool, it works both ways. So yes, obviously those of us in the know kind of understand. It's like FDA isn't someone we can just blindly trust, and so giving them more power, and that's like, well, who are they going to give that power to? It's like, yeah, it's kind of lets you know what people are thinking. But then also, so you look at who voted for it and who didn't, and then it lets you know. It's like if you're a Republican or a Democrat and you see that the person you like is like there, man, let them know. Like, don't do that. It's not good.
Right. I remember sending off an email to my senators here and to Obama himself, basically saying, business as usual, it needs to stop. Mm-hmm. I've always held this frame of mind because, excuse me, I have seen, everything is becoming so transparent now, and people who cannot see this, I feel, are really not awake at all to what is really happening around them. And when they come on TV, spewing whatever they have to spew, I'm just like it makes my stomach knot up because I know it's all bull,
Yeah, definitely, and that's why case in point, there's another current political happening, the tax cuts for the wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been following this at all, Roger? Have you had a chance
No, unfortunately, brother, I have not because I've been so busy trying to catch up on things with UTE.
Yeah, I hear you. It's just part of my daily routine. I kind of just I wake up, I research for a little bit, I meditate a little bit, So I just kind of grab stuff. I don't necessarily put a lot of hours into it, but things like this you can kind of follow little by little. So, but like this one, because it was the tax cuts that Bush implemented for people who made it's like X amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So it's like it doesn't apply to most of us, right?
Right.
Like $300,000 a year or something like that. Well, they got a big old tax cut, and of course, everyone's kind of like, well, that should be repealed now because we kind of need that money, right? Logical thing. Mm-hmm. Obama before was like, I'm going to repeal this tax. It's like, yes, do that. Well, time comes, and now he's like, well, okay, let's negotiate because they don't want to extend unemployment benefits. Mm-hmm. Because they're like, well, who's going to pay for that? Blah, 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 blah. Well, it's like, well, if we started taxing the rich people, maybe we could.
Precisely.
But they don't want to do that, of course, right? So,
right.
So this compromise that Obama actually did try to push through was basically extend the unemployment and we'll let you keep your tax cuts for 2 more years. And it's kind of like, okay, we have to call BS on that. That is what the House did. The House did call BS on. Even the Democrats were like, hell no. So this is good. So this is good. I wanted to say this so that way people know that it's kind of like it's not necessarily all doom and gloom on Washington in a lot of ways. Things do get stalled when they should, like this one, and things like that. So it does happen, and the more we pay attention, the more we can practically apply it to our awareness of the behind-the-scenes stuff, man. It's like, yeah, that makes us even more powerful in that sense.
Precisely. And now, so they've already started with unemployment payments, have they not? They reinstated those, right?
I'm not sure because they didn't pass this extension. So I think that's why they're pushing for it right now, because a lot of them are running out.
Well, right, and and quite honestly, it's winter. Christmas is here, and you're going to have a lot of very pissed off people. Especially in the cities, it's winter time. People need to stay warm, and quite honestly, it just feels like all of this is being orchestrated to make riots happen. Unfortunately, okay, you've got the unemployment not being reinstated. You've got this S510 bill trying to be implemented to control the food intake. How do you want to control people? Control their food, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right, because, at some level, there absolutely is some people who are consciously going, oh, yeah, we want to kill all of you people. Yeah, there's definitely, that's one of the points I try to make to a lot of people I talk to. It's like, make no mistake, there's definitely people who would like to kill you. I know they don't know you, but they're trying to kill you right now, and they'll tell you not to take it personal because it's
right.
business. And they'll tell you, or that's just how the way it is because they're so much better than you. They'll tell you whatever, but then a lot of people just don't know any better, or just greedy, or just blind to the facts, or you know what I mean? It's like, so you got all of that mixed together, and it's like, but ultimately, someone is definitely trying to push things towards like, well, let's take everything for myself and try to get rid of people at the same time.
Well, right, and then they want to have this great culling. They want to make this great culling happen, and people are like, what's that? Well, they're going to take out the useless eaters. The useless eaters are those who don't go out and do their bidding and work as mindless little slaves for the man, okay? And those of us who are speaking out, such as Aaron, myself, you, anyone else in the truth movement speaking out, well, guess what? Those FEMA camps are really slated for them, okay? And, Mr. Benjamin Murphy kind of spoke about that a little bit the other night. Oh, and I also wanted to welcome Mr. Benjamin Murphy. He is also the newest, one of the newest members of the UTE team, and so is my little honey, Miss Wendy Adams. So a big shout out to you folks. Thank you so much for your help. And with that, what were we speaking about here?
We're talking a little about like some of the
culling.
Yeah, and then actually that was something that I wanted to kind of just advise people out there too, because you're
sure.
right. People like those of us like myself, you, because people are listening to us now. Yeah, it's like now we're a problem, but the whole thing is that's how it used to be because there wasn't that many people doing it. Well, Blog Talk Radio now is full of people like us, and we're sharing information. And the whole thing is like, and this is one thing even Aaron and I talked about too when he was here, way back when we first were talking, was that how I told him it's like how he knows logistically, because the world is shrinking in a lot of ways in terms of like everyone kind of knows each other for various reasons, or can get in contact with each other, that you can't just disappear people like you used to. So there's a logistical nightmare because a hole is created. Then you have to create some kind of thing around that hole. You can't just have a bunch of people mysteriously disappearing. There has to be some kind of logical explanation somewhere.
Exactly.
Because then there comes a correlation. So what I suggest to people is like, don't get paranoid, get more transparent, start talking more.
Right.
Start making your presence known more online. Don't be afraid someone's going to take your identity. They can't take your identity when you have hundreds, thousands of friends on Facebook who know who you are.
Exactly.
As opposed to someone trying to be you.
Right, hiding out in the open is what it is. It's called hiding out in the open, yes. And even if, if they really want to get you, they'll get you. But you know what? I'm ready for them. So that's all I have to say. But
it's all. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, but and I'm not saying that I want to be a martyr in any way, shape, or form. But ever since we teamed up with Aaron, oh hell yeah, we've put targets on our backs, man.
Oh yeah, and that was one of the things that because I don't kind of bold and stuff in a lot of ways, but like even with that video that we did, it's kind of like he drew the Seagate insignia, and I'm like, can I publish that? He's like, yeah, okay, and so I did, and so it's like, yeah, I published the Seagate insignia, and yeah, that's kind of like what I told you the other night, like, I have they followed my bandmate home. I mean, and it wasn't subtle, because my I don't know, we're kind of wacky, so it's like he's not afraid of dying, you know what I mean? So
well, either am I.
Yeah, 100 miles an hour on the freeway just to make sure that they're following him, you know what I mean?
Right. I would do something similar, yes.
Yeah, and so it's like, and he's like, okay, that's really fun. Then he just thought it was funny. Then he just started laughing his ass off, because we're like that, because we're just like, dude, like, yeah, it's like, what do you because we kind of know, like, ultimately, it's all like, when you die, it's like, on a soul level, man, it's all kind of planned out anyways, in a sense. So it's like, if you're supposed to die, you're going to die. And if you're not, you're going to miraculously, quote-unquote, make it out. So you just got to be you, do what's practical, be prepared, and just have fun with this crazy movie that we're playing right now.
You know what? That's exactly what it is, too. It's a crazy movie, man. It really, really is. But,
Yeah, that we're playing in,
Right, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and it's just kind of strange, because when you think outside of the box and you step back and you look down on everything playing out in the parts we're playing right now, they just seem so damned trivial. But by the same token, it's almost like, how can I explain it? I feel like I'm walking with 1 foot here and 1 foot over there at the same time. And my higher self says, don't worry about it, because it all needs to come to pass anyway. Yep. It's part of our eternal evolution, okay?
Absolutely.
And it's just something that's going to take place for a while, and I'm really hoping that when, we're all done, our soul group, our soul circle, can get the hell out of here and not worry about having to come back and let all the people who don't get it come back and deal with it all over again, because, brother, I'm taking an eternity off after I'm done here. Trust me.
Yeah, I think that I think people who are incarnated here at this time, I think all of us need to give ourselves more credit than we do sometimes, because it's hard work being in 3D, damn it. We're the ones with the nervous systems. We're the ones that feel, and it's like, it's pretty difficult, and that's the other thing too. I think that, the more we honor ourselves being here, the less likely we are going to have to repeat a third dimensional lesson, shall we say? Because it's like, ultimately, on a soul level, we don't really go anywhere anyways. Even when we die, we're still here. Ask any medium, right?
Right.
So you really don't leave. You really can't get off the karmatic wheel. Time is eternal, and it's like, and so it's just like it's timing, really, and that's really just a matter of perception.
Well, it is a matter of perception, and honestly, I feel that, the human soul knows no boundaries, okay? Mm-hmm. Boundaries are created in 3D, all right? 3D, 4D, whatever. Boundaries are created there by us, unfortunately, and once we understand this, I feel we are fully on our way to ascended awareness, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, and really quick, Ed just messaged me here in the chat room. He says, hey, Roger, in the torrent file he's registering today, he's including the complete CIA and DARPA files. He says, as I also plan on including today's show in the torrent, could you speak about these subjects? Yes, I just did. There, Mr. Ed. Yeah, Mr. Ed. Just don't mention my actual name in relation to the torrent. Well, too bad, Ed. Too late, brother. You should have told me that beforehand.
yeah. Ed, please predicate, like, don't let, but first, okay?
You're right.
Man, we're not trying to put anyone in danger. We're just we're civilians, man. We're the ones that they've been training all these people to watch.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Ed, we know we're a little wily.
Ed, yeah, no worries, brother. We got your back no matter what. Okay. I know you're worried, but you know what? You wanted to do this, so I just kind of wish you would have stated that beforehand, brother.
Yeah. I think me and Ed have chatted a little bit, and he's a cool guy, and I think he's well prepared on all levels, I think, to understand what he's doing. So, and honestly, like, I think this is what's going to happen, though, like, because that's what I don't think people realize is that, and that's why they, quote unquote, are so paranoid themselves, is because it's like, this information is going out, and they know it's like they can't stop it. They can't stop it. And then the more people know, like, oh, this person, puts, like Aaron, right? Aaron put his ass on the line. Dude, the more people know that, the more he's technically psychically protected in a lot of ways.
Right.
Because all that awareness goes over there, you know what I mean, and all this, so it's like, like hiding out in the open, that's one of the manifestations, but it's like, this psychic sort of protection that happens. So...
Yeah, well, they've had a couple instances take place on their property already. I don't feel at liberty to speak about, but they know where he is.
Yeah, of course they do. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, Aaron and I talked about this already. I mean, because actually, even some of the testimony about the hyperdimensional AI. I mean, that alone just kind of makes them in a sense, that gives them a sort of like remote viewer that will just give them any information they need. So it's like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter about your cell phone. It doesn't even matter what about your thinking. You can get that. You can extract that too. And so it's like, that's where the transparency thing comes in. And so like, and that, how I kind of shared a little bit, that area over there in Temecula is wild. That whole desert, it's a big desert area. So it's like, I'm not really giving away anything. It's just because it's the general term. It's just a big part of the southeastern part of the area here, and it's like that area is just known for weirdness. So,
exactly.
Because I have a lot of friends out there, that's why I don't mind. Temecula's kind of wacky because they're used to seeing UFOs out there. They're used to. I mean, you hear stories of odd creatures in the hills from not just from the indigenous too. So there's like there's things over there. So it's like that's the interesting thing about that. So and I think Aaron, he recognized that him and Marius recognized that pretty quick over there. And but yeah, I mean, they know where he's at. I mean, of course they do. I mean, and so that's the thing, because it's kind of like, once again, as we were saying, it's like if he's really supposed to be dead, he would be. Just like he talked about his cocktail of death that he tried to take. You know what I mean? It's like that should have killed him, but it didn't. There's a reason.
Right. There is.
So yeah, and it's I think that the mind, our data bank of past experiences, at least that's what I'm going to talk about when I say mind this time. It's like it wants to look for that answer within itself, but it's not there in terms of like these kind of hyperdimensional issues of when am I going to leave?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I said, you be practical. You don't do anything stupid necessarily, but but ultimately, like it's all like divine timing, as I say. Because there is no light or dark or good and bad. It's all one consciousness, like you're saying. So it's like, how can you have? It's like, so like if say like how when you hear the conventional dogmatics, like in Christianity, they'll say God hates evil. It's like, so you're saying God hates himself, so he's a self-loathing individual.
Exactly.
So I guess, in a sense, because he's everything, but then he's also self-loving in that sense, if we're expressing it as he even, you know what I mean? Because he's also she, and it's also it, and his collective consciousness.
Right,
so.
Right. Well, yeah, I really want to speak more to you about this big time, because I think we could go on forever, and, just talking about it like this, I think will help a lot of people, honestly, and, it's just a matter of, for some people, you have to draw it out in red crayon, and sometimes they don't even get it then, But and that's not their fault, of course.
No,
I'm not putting them down or anything like that.
It's
but
the timing.
right, exactly. It's the timing. But we've got about 7 minutes left here. Since you actually have the courtesy of hosting with an interviewee tomorrow. You have that. You're interviewing the first person tomorrow on your show, Agape and Satori. Is there any information you would like to share with the folks about your show tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool because I haven't had a chance to familiarize myself, too intimately with what he's doing. So I've been kind of doing that a little bit, today or yesterday and today, and it's actually what it sounds like. It's probably going to be a lot of philosophical discussion, like we're talking right here about, the like soul mechanics in a sense, as well as how it relates to, like interpersonal relationships and community. It seems like he's very active in that as well as himself, and so yeah, it should be a great interview.
Okay. Yeah, right. And with Mr. Greg Joe Von Haesler, I really loathe these kind of names in a way because I don't know if I'm speaking them correctly, but he has some information he would like to impart, and I will be doing a write-up about him for that show on Wednesday. He has a lot of information to share, really cool. He was, I do believe he used to work for the government, and he's had attempts on his life and things of that sort. Former whistleblower, and he has been interviewed on Carrie Cassidy's show, Project Camelot, as well. Mm-hmm. And he told me that right before Aaron decided to split, that he and Aaron had set up not actually an interview time, but Aaron did ask if he wouldn't mind being interviewed, and he didn't mind whatsoever. So he asked that if I didn't mind carrying on the interview in Aaron's name, then he would really love to make the show. And I said, right on. I said, when's a good time for you? He said, how about Wednesday? And I'm like, sounds great. Now that I know that we have 2 hours of time, I can let him know, hey brother, we're on for 2 hours, so get your material going because it's all going to be about you. Oh yeah, it's going to be outstanding. I think the more people just need to be talking about this in general, and so the more we have guests like him, actually everyone really, the better, because it lets everyone know that we're really not alone here in more ways than one. Right. Exactly, we are. And let's see, we've got about 4 minutes left. Is there anything else we can talk about here? What have we not covered? Well, I think we covered most everything. So I guess we can kind of reiterate everything that you'll be doing shows primarily 3 times a week, and yes, I will. I'll be doing shows. Sorry about that. I'll be doing shows Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, folks. But for Christmas and New Year's, well, I'm going to have some visitors from about the 23rd on till January 2nd. And I'm making that official now. But if there is a guest that would like to be interviewed, because I know we're all going to be busy Christmas, but during Christmas, the week before Christmas, next week, if there's anyone who would like to be interviewed, and it's on my day, yes, I would love to interview them. But otherwise, I will be returning on January 3rd on Monday, right after the New Year. Okay, cool. I'll probably be fairly free, so I can play it by ear there, and we can see how the guests roll in, and I think it'll be cool. I think it'll work out good. Oh, yeah, I think it will, too. And it's just a matter of, getting over the butterflies. And like I said, hosting, this is like the second show I've done in quite some time. And this time around, I'm going to make sure that I do have some sort of notes to go by and things of that sort, so I can be really prepared, because I really do not like stuttering or anything of the sort. I want to be clear, concise, articulate, what have you, because, this information is much too important to be kind of, slacked off in any way. Yeah, absolutely. Slacked up on, yeah. Yeah, and I think it'll work out great. I know that, especially as we get our own individual formats kind of really moving. As far as how this daily show moves, and because this week it's kind of hard to calibrate. And then it wasn't like it was your show before. Aaron was the one kind of doing the research, organizing it, and then you helped him out. But it's now it's bam, here you go, Roger. And it's just all of a sudden it's right there in front of my front door, and it's okay, someone got a shovel here, Yeah,
Yeah, so it was kind of like, so yeah, I understand. So that's why, like, even that first week, like, considering most people would just be kind of curious of what was going on, so I was trying to keep everyone abreast of what was going down. But yeah, even myself, like, yeah, I would love, I was like waiting for this week because then we actually have time to prepare, properly for a show, so especially a 2-hour one. So.
Right, and well, I guess on the days that we don't have guests, we can keep things limited to an hour. We don't necessarily have to do 2 hours of witty banter back and forth either.
Yeah.
We can keep things down to a dull roar and just hang out with folks, and hopefully they have questions and/or calls. I would like to make this about the listeners as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I kind of, in a sense, on days that there's no guests, I'm kind of formatting a little bit similar to some AM stations and such, where I'll be picking topics and just kind of be moving along. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, so different things like that. I mean, because then plus I can always talk about dream stuff, of course, too. But like I said, well, I figured that'll be some of it. But then, so I think there really just does need to be more reporting, more news. So it's like that's another thing I want to be bringing to the table too.
Yeah, that's always welcome for sure. News for sure. At least 5 to 10 minutes of just quick news blurbs or something as to things taking place around the world that mainstream media will not have. But
yeah, or even like reports too about subjects that the media might not cover, but are ongoing or are fairly stories that for people that who are interested in the same thing, who might actually be sympathetic and want to hear these things.
Sure.
That they don't report on. So.
Mm-hmm.
Even things like someone catches like some gnarly police stuff where they're just totally misusing their power, and how those tend to fall through the cracks a lot of times. Well, we can report on that, or we can report on them harassing some organic farmer for providing medication to cancer patients. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
So things like that is also kind of what I want to inform people of too, and I know I can do that at least in my area. And if anyone else contacts me about like, oh hey, they're rating this guy for doing blah blah blah, it's like, well, we can make mention here, and here's a wet link to go read up on that story, check it out, people. Let us know what you think. You know what I mean? Just kind of just informing people more of what's going on all over the country, all over the world, and on all levels, not just like the grand scale, but in the neighborhoods, because that's really where the change happens.
Exactly, right, precisely. And with that, I would like to say to Ed one more time, sorry, brother, but I wish you would have made that known in the beginning of the show, about the files and things of that sort, and your name not being associated or not having, you know what I mean. Sorry about that, brother. But guess what? You're it now. Tag. I don't mean to put it so bluntly, but, sorry, man.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about. It's not really funny, but I mean it kind of is, because you're like, what the hell are you gonna do now? It's like it's already went by, and as we were saying, it's kind of like it's not like they don't know.
Exactly, it's not like they don't know, right?
So, I think it's just kind of like, I think what it is. Obviously, certain people don't want attention being brought to some of their actions that they could be implicated in. That it would make them serve jail or get people really angry, and honestly, like I was gonna state it right now that I really am kind of one of the amnesty people. Like I really kind of believe that if we have to pardon a lot of people, I mean, including Aaron, people don't even realize, Aaron has to be on that pardon block to have this future that we want, because there's some gnarly shit, gnarly stuff that he did,
right.
Some that he recognizes and he acknowledges, and he says, and for all rights and purposes, he's like, yeah, I'm guilty. It's like, but he'd have to be pardoned. So it's like, let's remember that, because I know a lot of people get really angry. How can we forgive people? Oh my God! It's like, well, dude, what about these people putting their butts on the line here? And it's like they have to be looked at like that, because they're part of it. So you have to say, okay, we understand. There's those few that are really like, yeah, we want to kill all you. Well, that's where trials really come in handy.
Yes, precisely. Precisely, and then you gotta make sure that the trial you're being given is not by a corrupt judge and or paid off jurors and things of that sort. So there's really a lot with the current system that I do not like, because it's set up to protect those with money. And like I said before, we are actually going over time here. It's like, but it's no big deal. If we have 2 hours, I say we just ramble. What the hey?
Yeah, we just keep going. Okay.
Sure. Okay. Well, for a little bit anyway. But
yeah.
Like I was saying before, there are no Democrats, there are no Republicans. There are only the haves and the have-nots, and that's the way it's been forever and a day. The Democrats and Republicans are different wings of the same damn bird, people. You know, it doesn't, and people, the thing that gets my goat is everyone knows they're crooks. A lot of them, well, I should say many of them, have intentions of doing good, want to do good. Unfortunately, it's not set up like that, and people still vote for these people and then bitch when their rights are being taken away right under their noses. Why vote for these people when you know nothing is going to change? You know, and unfortunately, with most change, sometimes things have to get bloody. And I'm not advocating violence, but that's just the way it is. You know, when you have people who are tyrannical in power, you're going to have to stand your ground at some point or another, or roll over and let them impale you and be done with it. You know? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that, and because that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, are the ones who get too angry and want to almost take up arms. You got to tell them, it's like, we just got to stay informed, make good decisions, and if they bring that fight to us, it'll be the stupidest thing that they could have ever done.
Precisely.
Because that's what I was saying about the trial thing, is like, yeah, because I think for instance, like, because I don't know who's at the head, you know, of all this. I don't know that group, and I really kind of don't care, because it's not really all that personal to me, in the sense that I'm sure there's other people who have personal issues to take up with these people. I don't, other than you're messing with my planet. I mean, which is a big one, yes, but there's other people on that karma list. See, that's the thing, though, with these big things, it's like now people like you and I, though, who are aware, when this happens, there's going to be too many of us. It's just not going to fly. Like if some kind of weird stuff happens. And then if it does, though, then that's when you kind of defer to like, you know, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it. Because ultimately, what's supposed to happen does happen. And one way or another, they'll reap what they sow. And so...
Right, but hopefully they reap what they sow without taking down those of us who are actually standing up to them and saying this isn't right. Get your proverbial you know what together, and you know, we won't have a problem. You know, but that's not happening right now. And until it does, we need to keep speaking out. We need to keep getting this information to people. People need to come together cohesively as a unit in their communities. That's where everything starts, is grassroots. People need to make their communities aware. Go out there one by one, flyers, whatever, you know. Be proactive. Like Aaron and Meredith, they chose to get down in the mud, in the guts of everything, and I admire them for that. I really do. Unfortunately for me, it's too damn cold up here, and I don't want to be getting into all that snow crawling around on my belly at the moment. This is what I got going on right now, folks. This is what we all have going on, and I do believe that change can also be made by radio, you know.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
In a lot of ways, I mean, the radio is what facilitated the change in this modern world, before TV and even after it, by bringing the media of things like, you know, political talk, even music. Music is probably the biggest political mover of all generations, because we tend to be defined by it.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're right. And I think that, you know, this is kind of like what I was talking about, like creating a void, though. And this is why they don't necessarily come and just put a bullet in your head or my head right now, because it creates that void. And then that motivates everyone we're contacted with. Everyone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Everyone. So it's like, so then now they had Jerry and Roger. Well, now they have like 50 Jerry and Rogers. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why they don't necessarily do it. That's why it's usually more of a mind game.
Right.
You know, because it's easier to remote influence you to make a bad decision. You know, I mean, that's really how they use it. That's how they use it on that side. So.
Right. Well, remote viewing and things that sort, influencing me to make a decision either way doesn't really, you know, I really go for the non-violence, I'm really an advocate for nonviolence, but hey, you know what? I'm not past putting somebody on their ass if I need to, you know.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to try to defend yourself. I mean, I'm like, if someone came after me, I was like, oh, go ahead and kill me. No, I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna be, you defend yourself for sure. I mean, but yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, I think that like it like if I I play this role, I do this all the time. I love doing this because I like kind of like, okay, like I kind of say like, if I wasn't thinking of ways to kill Aaron, that means I really don't love him because
right.
Because I really don't. So yeah, so I kind of do the same to myself. Well, how would I kill me? How would I mess me up? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I know where I can be gotten. You know what I mean? And so it's like, and at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, well, I recognize that and I respect that actually. I actually do respect them, quote unquote, for what they got and what they can do. I do. And in a lot of ways, and it's not just out of fear. It's not like, oh, don't kill me. No, because for the most part, honestly, like I said, the system itself isn't that bad. It's the people steering it. You know what I mean? Because here we are. We created this society. We have all this coolness around us. And we did it with big old ball and chains around our ankles. You know what I mean? And that ball and chain really is just the philosophy at the head. Because if that changed, it's like, well, the same system that we're all recognizing, this phone system that we're using, it would all still be there, and that was all implemented by some of these elites and all these other people because, yeah, maybe it was for their own interest, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Who cares? We have it, we're using it, and it's doing good.
Right.
And so that's why, like, I'm really not, like, I'm not afraid in the sense that not just because, like I said, it's like, hey, just you send me home if you kill me. That's all you do. You know what I mean? But more like, I'm not afraid because I'm not here to make enemies. I'm not here to say, like, oh, it's like, yeah, I don't appreciate being lied to. I don't appreciate not them thinking that I can't handle the truth. You know what I mean? All these other things.
Right.
But
right.
at the same time, it's like we know.
Right, and I think the largest trespass they're making right now on anybody and everybody is that they're trying to make people believe that they are not powerful individually or collectively. They're trying to make people think that they're owned. Okay, and you know, we have you're financially enslaved. You belong to us. No, we were all born with natural sovereign. They're just birthrights. We have the right to live and to survive the way we individually feel is productive for all involved. Okay. Yes. And I think Jeremiah Duncan, Project Information Generation, puts it perfectly. They said he still doesn't understand or comprehend why we have to pay to live on a planet that we're born on. Exactly. You know, that's precisely where I'm getting at. Yes, I have that same philosophy. Why do we have to pay to live on a planet that already gives us everything naturally? Why do we have to pay to be here and to live? There are people living out there in tents right now who you know, for some reason had their houses foreclosed on. You know what I say? I say move back into them. The bank's not going to sell them. Be squatters. Move back into them. You know, who says that you have to pay a mortgage in order to have a home, people?
Yeah, it is, and that's an interesting thing, at least in this area, because like I'm in the middle of Orange County, right? And it's like they actually started telling people here who are getting evicted, they're just like, you know what, just go ahead and stay, and so either find another buyer, or you know, because they're finding out that even the money sucking banks are realizing, dude, we should have been doing what they used to do, which was try to work out deals or let people stay, because we have to end up paying more money to get it fixed when some squatters who really don't care, you know what I mean, like who just screw it, just totally trash the place, and then they have to go in and fix everything.
Right.
And then if they don't, or if they don't pay someone to go over there and upkeep it, then you do have people living in there. So it's cheaper just to have people in there, like as if they own it.
Right. Exactly.
They take care of it.
Yeah, and I remember back when this really started getting out of hand. I think it was in Ohio. I don't remember for sure right now, but there was a county sheriff that was basically telling the banks to get bent. All my All these good people are losing their homes, and it's not their fault they're losing these homes. They're getting laid off and everything else, and I'll be damned if I'm going to be throwing them out on the streets just because they're unable to pay their mortgage, by circumstances beyond their control. I'm letting them stay there. And I was like, yes, it's about time, that even these leaders who are on lower levels of the pyramid are standing up and saying, enough's enough, we're not having it, So, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, I think it's great. I think it's better. It's good that sheriffs and police are now starting, at least realizing that they can think for themselves, too. Because I think that you hear it so often, they make this kind of easy statement of like, well, I don't write the laws, I'm just enforcing. Well, that's not true because you chose to engage with that citizen to say, I am stating that you are in violation of this. So it's kind of, because I've seen cops just as easily kind of overlook the guy who just ran the red light. You know what I mean? So he did just judge there. You know what I mean? So, or they did just let the person off with a warning for whatever. So they do judge. So it's like, use that judgment. And so it's like, it's good, especially in this situation, because we know it's a bunch of crap, and we know it's orchestrated. We know it was intentional. So that's one of the things that I would love to get Matt Taibbi from Rolling Stone to come on the show, because he talks a lot about the Wall Street and banker cartels in Rolling Stone. And he's talking about the same things that we are in the Universal Truth Revolution, but he's writing in Rolling Stone. And he's talking about, all these he's actually had this article recently about the kangaroo courts they've set up in Florida to foreclose on as many people as they can as fast as they can. And he was saying that these dockets they put in front of these judges they're like falsified. They're blatantly falsified. Like they even say, go falsify this some more so I can pass it through. And it's like, it's amazing.
It is.
It's like, no, and see, these are some of the things these are the things, like I said, I want to report on because most people don't realize that that's going on. Mm-hmm. And Matt Taibbi, he said that the judge actually threatened the lawyer who invited him, and he's a press. He's part of the press. It's a courtroom that anyone can walk into, and he is reprimanding this lawyer and threatening them with contempt for bringing a reporter into what was supposed to be an official, an operation of our law. And so why is he so worried about a reporter then?
Right. Right. Exactly.
So,
I'm looking forward to the upcoming shows, Jerry. I really am. I think they're going to be fun, and I love really just gabbing with folks. I love it. There's it's just like having a phone conversation, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is.
With your buddy or something like that. And I'm really hoping that eventually the honey and I can get together and come down there and meet you and the missus, meet Aaron and his missus, and we all get together, party hardy, rock and roll, and the rest. But
that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And
they could take care of all of us at one time, Roger.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, huh?
Yeah, they'll be like, on the other side's like, woohoo, we're going home.
Oh, yeah, here it comes now. You hear that whistling? Yeah.
I got it.
I got it.
See, that's why I love that, because it's like, I think a lot of us who are, especially like around my age and younger, probably especially like 30-somethings and lower, like they're deprogramming programs and stuff like their desensitization programs backfired on them too, because now we're like, dude, like the people who are my age and younger, those are the ones I'm afraid of, not the ones in the head right now, dude, because of that hubris we just displayed right now. Like we're just like, woo, just kill me, because they're even more aware. They're even more aware that this is just a temporary ride. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
So,
could you really imagine that, though? Here it comes, folks. No point in scattering.
Oh, man. I'm sure that's probably happened to more than one person before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
you know what?
Like,
I know. Yeah, it's humorous in a way, kind of sadistic and just, it's not really fun to talk about. I mean, to think about, honestly, because it could happen, you know. We sit here and joke about it, but it could happen. But then again, you know, all of us are taken out at once. What kind of can of whoop ass would that open up as far as the public goes? You know?
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, that's exactly why. I mean, I think we're joking about, like I said, it's not something you know. Everyone's like, oh, let me bring up this dark stuff, but that's why we're laughing about it, because it's kind of like. It's like, yeah, it's dark, but it's reality, but it's like we're just acknowledging it and just kind of realizing that, you know, we're sitting on the other side going like, oh, damn it. You know? It's like, you know, that's all you can really do. What else are you supposed to do? Live in fear? Well, that just feeds into the possibility of that happening more and more.
Right.
You know? So you have to just kind of be, and not inviting confrontation like, well, let them try to get me. No, it's like not even that either. It's just kind of like, if it happens, it happens.
Right. It's just kind of like meh. You know, you're on your merry meh. Whatever.
That's actually kind of why we named our band Apathy, but it's with the AE. Like I forgot the name of that symbol, so it actually could technically be pronounced apathy, but it's not really a word. And so one of the original band members and we were just kind of sitting down one day and we're like, well, let's just define this thing, because we're saying like how it's close to empathy and apathy. But then we were talking about generationally, what are we trying to talk about in our music? And we're kind of realizing it is the apathetic youth, because that's where we came from. We came from the apathetic youth.
Yep.
So that's that desensitization that's backfiring, because it's like we don't have fear. We don't have the fear that the generations prior had because of the social programming. Well, now that's removed. And so now you have these bunch of reckless people just around, but reckless and smart. So it's like they're gonna make bold moves in big ways, and that's kind of what we're seeing, you know, big time. So
exactly, and I was speaking with Aaron that, you know, we're you know, I'm kind of getting up there in age just a tad bit, and you know, I'm kind of in between the old and the new guard, but I am so happy that we have a newer guard who are popping up all over the place. You know, and even going, it's the age bracket is ranging from the old all the way on down to, you know, the teens. You know what I mean? The elders and the teeny boppers are actually, you know, saying, hey, enough's enough. We're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore.
Oh yeah, like that 15-year-old in the YouTube video that's circling around right now from UK.
Exactly. Yeah, that guy from the UK. He so rocked it. I was just like, yes, it's about time. And you know, I really feel that these are older souls, you know, manifesting in younger bodies, and it's about time. because brother, I'm telling you, you know, being part of the scout troop that came here, you know, to get things ready for those coming has been one hell of has it been one hell of a journey for me, you know, in my meager years of existence. But it's I'm just very happy that we were able to accomplish what we've accomplished thus far all together, every one of us. Oh,
absolutely. And actually, I was like, one of the things I was telling one of my dear friends yesterday at that event, who's, you know, I'm pretty sure they're older than you. This is a couple. I know you're not super old there, Roger.
Right. No, I'm not super old, but not physically anyway.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, I know that they have to be probably in their 60s, I think. And but they've been aware for decades. You know what I mean? And and so like you know, I was leaving, and my friend was like, "Oh, thank you for all you're doing and speaking about and you know, you're bringing about that change that we're seeing." I'm like, I was saying like, yeah, you know, it's awesome. It's coming big time. There's so many more of us younger people now, and I told about some of them all, but really thank you guys, your generation, and all those around you for holding the space for us, because it never would have been possible for any of this younger second wave, third wave, all these coming in right now to even have any wiggle room to start creating the leverage to push this the other way if that scout team, like you said, wasn't there.
Right.
I mean, even if you guys couldn't come together like we are now, like we're talking, you know, in public on the radio about all this stuff like that, but just holding that energetic space in your isolated part of the world, being incarnated now, that's what needed to happen. That's why we're there.
Right.
That's what made this happen.
Mm-hmm. And things back then too, you know, they were in the 20s when I came about. So even then, they were just kind of starting out in life as well, you know. But we were all dealing with some pretty heavy stuff back in the day. But anymore, things haven't really become heavy. As a matter of fact, they've become lighter. They feel lighter, time's speeding up, but things are becoming lighter. And even though the powers that be are trying to pass these heavy things and lay them upon us because of whatever reasons they have, it's transparent. And quite honestly, it's so ridiculously transparent to me that it's a damned joke. All of it's a joke, you know. I actually have to sit and laugh, and I'm like, oh my God, if people actually believe this crap, then, you know, they deserve what they get, honestly.
Yeah, I can totally understand that sentiment, because I mean that, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink after
Precisely.
all. And but yeah, definitely, and I think that you know, the powers that be, shall we say, who have been trying to keep control of everything, you know, they're backed in the corner right now, because I know a lot of people are worried about, you know, was it the Blue Beam project for, you know, to kind of do the fake ET thing, which yeah, and honestly, I don't even think people realize it doesn't have to be like this worldwide coordinated thing. All you have to have is one like you know, TR-3B blow up something in plain sight, and then you can just blame it on aliens, because, you know, there's not very many people know what the hell that is.
Right.
So, but I think people like you and I will be like, hey, that's bullshit. But but the whole thing is like, so they're back in the corner though, because even if they did that though, then that creates an exopolitical snafu, and guess who has to jump in at that time? All the other races that have any dealings with Earth. So,
exactly. Right. They're going to have to jump in, and, well, you know, you're hoping that they would actually step up and condemn everything that happened that supposedly took place in their name, you know?
Yeah, unless they made up a race and tried to, like, just make up some complete fabrication. And even still.
Right. Like Al-Qaeda. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there. Al-Qaeda totally made up, folks.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you have to put that in there, even though like how there is real terrorists now, because it happens when you bomb peaceful villages for no reason, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we know, and you know, so that's the other thing. I mean, we have to make that common in everyone's lexicon that yes, Al Qaeda was created by the United States to help Osama bin Laden fight the Russians in the 80s. You know, but you know, and even Hillary Clinton acknowledged that in a press conference. I mean, so it's not like. Yeah, she did. You know, because it was in the beginning of the administration when they first came out, when they first took over. So yeah, she was like, yeah, there was a lot of messes that we created from the beginning in Afghanistan, having to deal with Al Qaeda, and like it was not the exact words that she was saying, but she was saying, yeah, we kind of created this mess, and in Iraq too. You know, with Saddam, because we put Saddam in place too to try to fight against Iran.
Yep.
So yeah, I think and a lot of people just blind themselves to that, and the more we make that common knowledge, man, the more this the wave just comes, and that's why I keep saying they need to just go hang out with the rest of the Nazis in South America, man. Apparently they love it.
and South America or Antarctica, if there's still any, you know, base there, creating whatever technology they're creating, because I don't know if they're really doing that here in the U.S. They're doing it in a land far away that they can't be bothered, you know, that no one can bother them on. Oh, geez, what else? Oh, yeah, Mr. Bush, shortly after 9/11, I remember watching on TV, and I said this in a previous show, that he actually came out and stated, yes, we do have a black government calling the scenes, you know, calling the shots behind the scenes, yada, yada. And I'm like, I knew it, but that black government's always been there. These you know, these guys speaking, so-called presidents, are nothing but meat puppets, people. They're nothing but propagandists and things that sort, telling you what you want to hear. Oh, okay, he said at school, so I guess I'll go back to sleep now, no worries. Sorry, doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and that's and you know, the interesting thing I find is that you know, obviously I think they're I mean, even on like kind of a spiritual soul level, you know, I don't know how many hours of introspection I've done on this whole thing of like why does that happen, right? And then really what it comes down to is the thing that you really even hear from contactees and such, that there is like this sort of gradual release that sort of has to happen in order to transition without like, you know, proverbial or literal explosions. You know what I mean? That are unnecessary. But at the same time, like I said, I think right now we're at that nexus point where, because at one point the dominoes are going to fall, change is going to happen, and some worlds are going to be destroyed. This is how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that transition will be fairly short-lived. I mean, from everything I've been seeing, and because I think for the most part, one of the things I'm doing, and I haven't done it lately, but